Got a chance to see Cuckoo with Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. Let's talk about it right now. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel, everyone. Welcome as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I did post some stuff for Lorcana this week. The new deck just came out. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And I got a meeting Tuesday for possible projects, so let's see what happens there. I'm going to start calling investors as well for my 2 horror projects, so we'll see what goes on with that as well. Keep my fingers crossed. But also remember that I'm also a board game designer, so I am releasing our new card game in October on Kickstarter. Me and Mark Spears, who does a lot of comic cover art for Marvel and DC. But this is the classic Monsters card game where you're playing as the classic monsters. It's a deck builder area control. Literally take you about 10 minutes to learn how to play. It's very, very easy. All right, but we'll have a link in the description below where you can sign up and get notified for when we launch. Lots of fun. Anyway, so let's jump into Cuckoo. The real reason I went to see this movie was because of Jessica Henwick. I'm a big fan of hers ever since I think she's got a lot of good range. I liked her look and everything like that in Iron Fist, where she played Colleen Wing. Then she did like Underwater and things to that effect. So if you haven't seen Underwater, it's actually a pretty decent movie. And she was also in the last Matrix film. So she's done a bunch of films right now. And I think she's really good. Unfortunately, in this film, I kind of got a little hoodwinked because she's only in 3 little teeny scenes. I'm not sure why she took this project, considering how small her role was. I'm not sure. And Martin, unless there was some scenes that got cut, because Martin Cossacks is also in this. Koskas, I forgot how you say his name. It's with the CS, so it's got that weird pronunciation. But he's been in a bunch of films too, and he had just a small role. So anyway, it was really a Hunter Schafer film with Dan Stevens. I think Dan Stevens has a huge, huge range. So he was, the first time I was introduced to him was in Downton Abbey. He played Crawley in Downton Abbey. He was just in Abigail, and he was just in Kong. So he's, he got a bigger role here. I could see why he took this role, because he plays the villain. But so he plays completely, he's a chameleon type actor where everything he does is completely different than the last, and he pulls it off. And then you have Hunter Schafer. I'm not a huge fan of Hunter Schafer. I liked what she, the look and feel of her character in the Hunger Games, but her acting is very middle of the road. And then the whole film being surrounded by her. I know she's from Euphoria as well. I have not seen Euphoria, so I have no opinion there. But I'm not a big fan of her acting. I wish that the role was made for, her character's supposed to be 17 years old, and I don't buy that she's 17 at all. I don't know how old Hunter Schafer is in real life, but I guarantee you it's not 17. So I think they should have just made it an older person to begin with. It's, being somebody in their 20s would have worked just as well. But anyway, and of course, she's a lesbian in here as well. But it's so this is written and directed. I'm having a hard time, you can tell, trying to put my finger on this film to be able to review it. So this was written and directed by Tillman Singer, who has only a handful of credits. And I just had a conversation with another filmmaker, a writer, who also directs. And I told her, I said, don't direct your own stuff. Not in the beginning. Because you have to learn how to collaborate first. Because film is a collaborative effort. So if you're directing your stuff right off the bat, then you're so close to it that you tend to not understand that the audience may not know all the intricacies of the characters and the world like you do. And if you bring in a third-party director, they're going to see it from this angle rather than you that's over here. And you're blinded by how close you are to it. So until you learn how to see the project at a distance, I do never recommend you directing your own stuff. After you've done, directed other people's stuff, even half a dozen, then I'm like, yeah, you have enough chops now where you can start directing your own stuff and see it more objectively. And this is the problem with this film. Of course, it's a critic darling. It's 78%, but it's just barely recommended on the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes. It's 63. I think the cutoff between Rotten, I think, is 60. So it's just barely there. And the reason being is that it's not cohesive. This is not a cohesive story. And I'm lost. Even now, after I've seen it, I cannot tell you what this film is about. I can't. Because it was a film that was built around a world that this writer-director created, and he didn't really feel the need to explain it. And I don't understand how this works. I'm really not going to go into any spoilers. There's really no spoilers I can give you. Anyway, but this Hunter Schafer plays a character that had lost her mother off screen. This is before the movie even starts. And she's going to live with her father and her father's new wife, I believe. I don't know if it's girlfriend or wife, but you could tell that they've been together, for a while. And that's what the Jessica Henwick character is, that she's the stepmom. But they go to Germany because they're going to build, I guess they're architects, and they're going to build this resort in Germany. And so they've known this guy, this doctor, for quite a while, for years, and he's the one that's financing or helped finance all of this new resort. Meanwhile, she also has a sister, which is the daughter of her father and the stepmom. That's why they have to be married, because they have a kid who is, older. And, I think she's like 7 or 8 years old. And she's a mute. So, they do some sign language, but she can still hear. So she's just mute. So everything takes place in Germany, so we get to see, the German forests and the tiny roads and etc. And all that was kind of cool. And then we have this woman that's this creature who lets out this, I don't know, vibrating noise, scream? I don't know what you'd call it. But anyway, she's the monster villain in this. And it, turns back time? I really didn't understand how, and that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how it works. So it turns back time. It can freeze people. I don't know. So it's like a canary cry kind of thing, like a banshee, affects people it does definitely affects time, because we see the same actions, which is very jarring. We see the same actions being repeated over and over again. And I don't know if that's inside the person's head that's frozen. I don't know. Again, I'm completely at a loss about how this world works. What the villains' motivation was, what their end goal is. I don't understand it. And after you see the film, like I was with, and I got to hand everybody that was in the theater with me, as slow as the second act was, really nobody pulled out their phones, so I was kind of happy about that. But there was probably about 8 people in the theater with me, and after the movie was over, man, they bolted out, man. There was just no hanging around, because I think everybody was disappointed with it, including me. I don't know. It goes into horror. It goes into action. And, I don't know. I can't really describe to you my feeling on the film other than disappointment, because I think there was something that could have been built on here, and some of it was interesting, but the delivery of the end product, the execution was poor. Not that the filmmaking was poor, not that the acting was poor, but the plot and the scenes were so miscombobulated that you had no idea what the progression of this was supposed to be. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. We do get an arc for Hunter Schafer, with her sister, because initially she says it's not my sister, but then she risks her life to save her. So there is that. But I cannot recommend this film, because it's an art house film. Where it just leaves too much to the interpretation without telling a cohesive story. So, unfortunately, that's where this film is at. I know it's a $7 million budget, which means it probably needs about $20 million. It's by Neon, which is the same company that did Longlegs, and I see that they have a thing called The Monkey. I saw the trailer for, which I'm just going to call him Oz. Perkins, who did Longlegs, is now hooking up with James Wan, and he's writing, directing this thing called Monkey, or The Monkey, which is kind of strange looking. I don't know. I wasn't really happy with Longlegs, so I can't tell you But that movie's made almost $100 million. I think it's at $80 million. Crazy. So both the last 2 Neon films made money, and I think this one's going to fail because it's just too art house. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys saw it. Let me know what you think it's about, because I wish I knew. I wish I knew how that world worked. But anyway, that's it for me. So on a scale from 1 to 10. I'm just going to give this, again, the acting is fine. The action is okay. It's 4 for me, because 4 out of 10, because it's below average, because I will never touch this film again. If I see it on streaming, I will make sure not to watch it. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you can. Ring that bell, ding, ding. It is free. It does help the channel out. And then on top of that, remember that Myth Lords is launching in October, where you're going to be able to play as the classic monsters. You can see some of the cards down here. They're pretty cool, and you can see some of the artwork up here. Mark does a great job. But anyway, you can check out the link below to sign up. It's of course free to sign up, and you're not going to get any emails or anything else until the product launches. That's going to be the only email you get. All right. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and check out some of my other videos if you'd like to see some of my Lorcana stuff or my review on Borderlands or all that stuff. Check that out as well, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.